In this video, I want to talk about how you learn. And you might be thinking you already know how to learn. Who doesn't know how to learn? But maybe the way that you learned was not ideal, especially because there's evidence that shows that students gravitate towards not so good study techniques. So I am a current medical student and also a content creator, and I'm going to be posting a lot more on this channel to help students out, to help you with self-development. So there's a lot of things coming up that's in the works that I wouldn't want you to miss, so you want to make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Students convince themselves that they are studying a lot, but they're actually utilizing these ineffective study techniques. That's why I want to go over evidence-based study techniques that will help you do way better, help you retain more in a fraction of the time. If you're someone who doesn't want to stay up all night studying or spend the whole day studying, then I recommend you watch this video all the way through. Because at the end, I'm going to give you a sneak peek and I'm going to give you access to my new Skillshare course that I just published, which is called Study Smarter, Not Harder. And I'm going to give you free access to that course at the end of this video. So let's go over the wrong ways to study. The first one is mass practice. If you ever force yourself to reread something or look over something multiple times in an attempt to understand it, then you have likely practiced mass practice. Now, especially when you're short on time and you're stressed and you don't know what to do, you tend to gravitate towards this technique. Now, what this does is by you doing mass practice on one subject or on one topic, it stores it in your short-term memory, but it doesn't necessarily consolidate it in your brain, and it doesn't really help you when it comes time for exams. The next one is rereading. Now, humans are not good with having some kind of conflict or having what I call an open loop in their mind. So if you're reading something and you just don't understand it, your first intuition might be, let me read this over and over again until I get it. And honestly, that might work. Here and there, it'll definitely work because maybe the material is pretty dense, it's pretty complicated, but it becomes a habit where you just tend to reread things multiple times and then you get a false sense of mastery, and that becomes a prime study habit for you. Even though students rank this study habit as the most common in their arsenal, this is actually the least effective. Another thing is fast and easy learning. If you're someone who can just passively glance over study materials and content and not really engage and not really exert any effort, chances are you're not learning the material the right way. See, good studying is actually supposed to be a little difficult, but not impossible. I remembered when I had a lot to learn and a lot to go over, so I would quickly skim through things and convince myself that I knew these things. It's because I was in panic mode and I just passively read things over pretty quickly, and this is a natural thing to do when you're on a time crunch and you don't have much time to study and you don't really get organized. But if you try to actually put some effort into your studying, you quiz yourself, you retrieve, and this is a great transition to talk about things that you should be doing in your studies. So for evidence-based ways to study, the first one is active retrieval. It might also be called active recall. Two books that I'm going to mention that really helped me put this video together is Make It Stick and Ultra Learning. Studies have consistently shown that when students practice active recall after learning something, after reading something, they perform way better on assessments. So it might be just like you read something or you watch a lecture and then you put away your notes and your materials and then you try to actively recall what you just learned. Put it into your own words. You can say it to yourself or you can say it to a friend. Another form of active recall, which is something I'm sure you have heard of a lot, are practice questions. Practice questions are king when it comes to review and really maximizing your success for exams. But of course, practice questions should be done after you've built a strong foundational basis. The second thing is effort with learning. So notice how I just talked about fast and easy learning. So this is the opposite. It's actually increasing the effort and engagement you have with your learning. Every time you struggle, when you try to learn, it might be difficult, but this actually helps you to build memories. This actually helps you to encode the material. So every time you struggle, you get a little better, it becomes a little easier, and you will do better on your exams, on your quizzes, on all your assessments. Because like anything in life, if you're not being challenged, you're not really growing. You're not really getting better. And the same principles apply to studying. The next thing is spaced repetition, varying your stuff, and interleaving. So for spaced repetition, to keep it brief, you just want to keep time in between your studies. So don't review everything at once. Space it out throughout the day, space it out throughout the week. For spaced repetition, you want to give adequate time between reviewing subjects, so this allows your brain to consolidate the information. I call this actually letting the material marinate in your brain. And then also you want to interleave when you can. Interleaving means you might switch from topic to topic, right? You might switch from block to block. Sometimes you might switch from one topic to a blank block of not doing anything, and then you might revisit another topic later. As you interleave and you alternate between subjects, or you alternate between free time and breaks, this engages the brain way more, and it also helps to fight burnout. And for variation, this means vary the type of learning that you do, right? The study method that you're using. So you might want to switch up how you review material. It could be reading your notes, it could be watching a video, it could be making flashcards, it could be doing practice questions, it could be making a concept map. You want to switch it up and vary it because it allows you to build way better mental models for that subject or topic. And the last thing is not falling for the trap of the false sense of knowing. Don't convince yourself that you know something because you're scared to test yourself. Always seek to quiz yourself, and don't be dismissive of feedback from others. And I get it, when you get feedback from someone on your studies, it can elicit emotion. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative emotion. Because you elicit emotion as you get feedback from someone about what you know or what you don't know, this allows you to go back, work on your gaps in knowledge, right? Your brain is really good at tricking you into believing that you know it. Don't let your brain do that to you. Have objective measures in place to really gauge your knowledge. And as I promised, for a complete and in-depth explanation of all these things and much, much more, check out my free course on Skillshare. Right now, when you use the link in the description, you'll get a month free for Skillshare. Yes, a full month. This allows you to watch my course as many times as you want, and it's a very simple and easy to follow course, perfect for people who are just trying to understand the basics of studying a lot more effectively. And then go ahead and hit that like button below, and please make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any more things just like this. Good luck with your studying, y'all. I'm wishing you the best vibes for the start of the school year. Let's get it. Let's get these grades. Let's get this money. See you later.